Okay, so let's get started here. DGP, he was agreeing with you for once. I know it's rare. Oh, gotcha. I don't have you. I have never watched a single show, which I'm not at all bothered by. It's a terrible set of human beings. Yep. Good deal. All right, so DGP Wednesday. Oh yeah, no, that's not him in Scarface. That's Godfather 2. But yes. Oh. So DGP Wednesday. DGP Wednesday. I told you that we have 2 subject and verb combinations. So we should have 2 sets of brackets, correct? Where did you put your first set of brackets, or where did you put a bracket? Again, don't be afraid to be. Say that again, Ayla. I've got one before that. I agree with that one at the start of this. And Nolan says one after boat. So far, we're 2 for 2. Nolan apparently is awake now. Good thing he. And then after it, Ayla. There you go. That's them. Those are your brackets. And you notice how they follow the subject lines from above, right? They follow the subject and the predicate lines from above. Okay. Once you have those 2, or once you have your brackets, now you need to identify what type of clause you have. So I'm going to copy and paste one of my clause boxes over each of them. Doesn't matter where they go, just as long as they're in between the 2 brackets. And you can tell that I have 2 over, or 1 over each one. What type of clauses did you guys identify? Maggie's like, I want to answer, but if I'm wrong, then it's going to be tragic. On both of them? On the first one, okay. So the first one you said is independent clause. Now, in order to understand if it's an independent clause, does it make sense on its own? Does that is a very loud boat make sense all by itself? So it can stand by itself, right? That literally is what independent means, is that it can make sense on its own, it can be by itself. Now, if you look at something must be wrong with it. Does something must be wrong with it? If you said something must be wrong with it, with no other context, does it make sense? Okay. Why are you saying not really, though? You don't know what the something is. So if you use the pronoun something, it implies that you've already said what the something is. Does that make sense? It'd be like saying, Nolan is here today. He hasn't been here for a couple of weeks. Well, I'm just wishful thinking. Okay. I also can't use an example of someone that hasn't been. All right. So, but I know who he is, correct? They're 2 separate clauses. They make sense on their own. I've defined he with the previous clause. Correct. In this case, this one is an independent clause. Okay, a lot of you may have marked it as a dependent clause, but it isn't. It is an independent clause because I know what the something is, so it makes sense by itself. Does that make sense? When we see a dependent clause, you'll really see what they look like. They stand out. Okay, they literally, you can't have that clause by itself and have a full sentence. So since I have 2 independent clauses, what is my sentence type? Simple sentence, compound, complex, or compound complex? Okay, so Ayla said complex. With a complex sentence, you have an independent clause and a dependent clause. Okay, we have 2 independents. Okay, but if you base it off of the fact that, and a lot of you thought that something was a dependent clause, if you use that information, you would have been right. But in this case, we have 2 independent clauses. It is a compound. It is a compound. Ayla also said a declarative, so that part we do have. Okay. Questions about DGP Wednesday? Concerns? Other than maybe you don't like the fact that one of them is an independent clause.